Ooh, what is up? I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. And that moment is feeling so much gratitude and joy and lightheartedness from having my dream space with my dream people, beautiful daughter, beautiful wife. And I just wanted to share some of the special things in my life with you guys. I share a lot of tactical, sort of business stuff on this page. These are the moments that I don't share. These are the things that I don't share. Just really feeling like out of pure gratitude and humility because I didn't know any of this was possible for me just maybe even 5-6 years ago. I'm gonna give you a little tour around my space, share a few of my thoughts, share a few of the things that really make life special for me. So let's do it. Here's the front of my house. I have these massive 25-foot or so windows. I just love feeling like I'm in a little rainforest box here. It's a bit messy, doing some work in the front of the house. My little pup, he's a rascal, Australian Shepherd. But yeah, our entryway is very messy here, but we went for this kind of terracotta approach with the walls. Yeah, my family's from Morocco, so it kind of reminds me of Marrakesh and some of like the clay buildings that are there. We have our dining room, and there's this special terrazzo tabletop. It's like solid stone tabletop, and it's actually built in, so we'd have to rip it out of the actual flooring if we wanted to take it out here. This area we kind of lovingly call our puppet show area because these shutters, you can actually close them all the way across here and close this whole section off. And then our living room is probably the most epic feature of the house. Just the massive windows. A few 100-year-old live oak here is one of my favorite features, like a grandmother oak. We have our altar here. So I've been practicing the practice of bhakti yoga. Those who love Krishna or Vishnu. And the closest analog to compare it to is Hinduism, but Hindu is really a term used by British colonizers to describe anybody who lived in the Indus River Valley. And so anyone that lived in the Indus River Valley, they just said, these are the Indus, and then it became a blanket term for really thousands of different kind of subsects of spiritual practices and traditions and lineages. And so that's the closest analog that I tell a stranger, but really what it's called is Gaudiya Vaishnavism. I had so many beautiful mentors and teachers and gurus and people who believed in me more than I believed in myself, and taught me so many beautiful skills, and they encouraged me to go bigger and bigger with my pursuits and try to keep a humble heart along the way. So this was actually from a place in India called Naga land, and there's special yogis that sleep on these beds, and so that's what this is, a Naga yogi's bed. Fireplace. Probably one of my favorite features, I'll bring you outside, is the atrium. This is like a little jungle oasis here. There's so many different tropical plants and vines and trees, and there's a lot of work that we want to do in here as far as this optimizing the space. Maybe put a nice pool in. My wife's going wild on a succulent party. All right, can come up. My garden. So I've been learning an agroforestry approach. I actually have a degree as a biologist, coastal biologist, that I got here in North Florida. And even when I lived as a monk, the first project I had as a monk was really living in a rural village of India and combining the sciences of, sustainability along with the science of spirituality and bhakti, and seeing how the two converge. So many beautiful spiritual traditions have a very ecocentric worldview where they worship the earth as a mother and have a relationship with the land and the trees and honor it in such a deep and reverent way. There's a lot of different trees that we have here. curry, mulberry, ice cream bean, blackberry, passion fruit, peach, pigeon pea, sunflowers, banana, plum. This is a Pakistani mulberry, more blackberries, chayote, little vine in the ground. And this is a pomegranate. It's blossoming beautifully right now with a bunch of flowers. So we'll see if it fruits this year. There's some turmeric in the ground. There's California lemon we kind of smuggled. A lot of agriculture is just kind of raping the land, for lack of better terms. It's just taking from Mother Earth, pillaging her and exploiting her. And trying to take this approach means syntropic, means I'm adding to the system instead of taking away from the system, entropy. Right here is called an air prune table. And essentially you can just put hundreds and hundreds of fruit seeds in here, which is exactly what I've done. And there's about 100 plus papaya trees growing in here. That's all these little ones. And then there's dozens of grapefruit, local grapefruit that were some of the best grapefruit we've had in our lives. The bottom of this, it's raised up off the ground, and there's a little bit of metal cloth underneath. And so that creates a more branched out root system because the branches go down. They feel the air underneath of it instead of more soil. And instead of coiling up in the bottom of a pot like they normally do, they branch out and they create a more robust root system. Anyone who knows me knows that I love systems. So Ayurveda, which is a holistic science, it's a massive, nerdy science and system about the human body, about nature. Bhakti yoga, it's a very, very in-depth spiritual science and system. Agroforestry, it's a very in-depth system about how to grow food and how to work with the land. Business, it's all about systems and processes and how to understand cause and effect and what moves things. And this, all things that are worth doing need good systems behind them. Anything worth pursuing takes more time, more money, more effort, more mentorship, more endurance than you think it's gonna take you. All right. This is our favorite room as a family in the house. We spend so much time here. We call this our retro room, mid-century Mediterranean kind of style. My coffee bar and drink bar. So this is my coffee bar, but yeah, I love this La Marzocco coffee machine. I have these cool little test tube coffee bean holders, and it's just like a nice little ritual in the morning to grind the beans, to make a nice beautiful cup of coffee, and to sit here. This is like my family spot. We hang out, we have breakfast here, my daughter plays here, and it's just full of life. And if you ever come over for one of our Conscious Business Mastery retreats, I'll make you some of the craziest coffee you ever had in your life. So just coming back to gratitude for this space, gratitude for having really the life that I dream of, and trying to be very aware of, what I have heard about, which is the hedonic hamster wheel. This concept called the hedonic hamster wheel, which is essentially that the mind basically doesn't get any happier than your baseline happiness with any further gains. And so just trying to, remember that as I grow my business more, as I grow, my family, that when I was sleeping on the floor as a monk with no money in my bank, there was a certain level of happiness that I had. It was beautiful. And, I got to travel the world, backpack with practically no money, just camp throughout Europe and Asia. What I do believe, though, is that this spaces facilitate consciousness. When you have different components, parts of yourself that are important to you, a spiritual component, an artist kind of component, maybe part of you that loves to care for people, host people, cook for people, part of you that likes to really connect with nature, then having those different spaces where you can really just drop into that particular energy and that particular part of yourself, that's been so freeing and liberating. Like, there's a space for my family to just kind of run wild. There's a space for me to do my prayer and meditation. There's a space for me to go into my artistic wormhole. There's a space for me to do business, and have my meetings. There's a space for me to relax. There's a space for me to garden. Trying to remember that this house is not my house, but it's the house of my gurus, my teachers, and God. And try to remember that nothing is mine. This is not mine. This is gonna not be in my possession when I die. I'm just stewarding this space for this short amount of time. Yeah, I'm just feeling a deep sense of gratitude because I didn't think any of what I showed you was possible as far as a living space, but just to share out of a space of fullness, out of a space of gratitude, that I want you to think about and envision what your dream life is, your dream family, your dream spaces. What are the spaces that inspire you and light you up and really have you get into your wormhole of genius and obsessions? Feel inspiration, feel that generosity, feel that desire to just do beautiful things for people that you care about. And I think that's what a good space will do. And it doesn't have to be a big house, it can be a tiny space, but just curate it with the right consciousness. And also just being mindful of not having anything in your space that doesn't actually add value to your life and add value to your consciousness. So anything you haven't used in 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, that's something that we're about to do as well, and we try to do each year. Give away things that we're not actually aligned with anymore or not utilizing anymore, or that are just an item that we're thinking maybe one day we'll use, and just clearing it. One of the other principles behind that is, it said like the goddess of fortune in my tradition, that when she sees wealth as being spent and like the wrong ways and stagnated and wasted, and you buy things that you don't use, then she kind of wants to stop giving herself, because like abundance is the natural state of nature, but when that abundance is misappropriated, misused, and kind of disrespected, then it kind of withdraws itself to some extent. And so being mindful to not accumulate things that aren't actually uplifting and that I don't actually want to have for many years to come, and getting rid of those things that are not aligned, giving them to people that are actually going to cherish them. So I didn't have much else in this video, but I pray that you enjoyed the space. I pray that you can come visit sometime, and that you can create your own sacred space and beautiful dream life curated by your highest aspirational self. And do it in a mood of gratitude, do it in a mood of, how can I do this for the divine, for others, as a way to give back to my teachers and my community and my family, etc. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.